So, another episode done. Series 12, episode 3. Hope you've all have been checking it out. It's been a very much well. The first episode was just so bad. I'm surprised these episodes actually increased in quality. This episode was again enjoyable. There were some nice moments, and I think there's some real stepping stones into the future. And I've got to admit, Danny being absent from this episode is one of the greatest things about the show. He just is not a good character. But of course, subscribe, like, and spoilers ahead. Enjoy. So, the music show was this episode. The aftermath of Amy and Dante was a big thing. Izzy was a huge character in this episode in the sense of, she heard what happened between Amy and Dante. She's conflicted and confused. She's disappointed in Dante because of moving on so fast from Chloe. But also from Dante's perspective, he never has truly dealt with Chloe. He went to the funeral, he stayed home for a little bit, then he just went back to work and got involved in whatever means he could do. He was angry for such a long time, and now he's dealing with this, whether it's liking Nikki or everything that happened with Amy. It's trying to have a relationship with Izzy. I love the scenes with Preston in this episode with Dante. How obviously, when the car broke down, Preston knew a bit more than Dante, but obviously we know that Dante was massive on mechanics back in the day, getting his MVQ. Um, and also just like seeing like Chloe's bar and just hearing Chloe's names being talked about, and Mika was mentioned. Dante is the heart and soul of Waterloo Road. Whatever series you're on, whatever series you're watching, he truly captivates an audience. He's so enjoyable. Val was brilliant in this episode. I love the speech she gave to the girls after they sort of walked out and didn't want to do the performance. I thought the performance was executed very well. The speeches from Izzy and Tanya were really good. I love how Treneman was there. I love how Treneman was just looking at Kim as she was living in the moment, being emotional over Izzy's um, poem about Chloe. I think the chemistry between Dante and Chloe is gonna between Dante and Izzy is gonna be really good going forward. Dante and Amy are back on the same page. Kind of intriguing when you looked at the episode. Neil and Coral were having a nice conversation. They're probably around the same age, or maybe is there something there? Could something happen between them? Which I think could be really nice and cool. Coral has sort of just snuck her way back into the show so casually, like nothing happened last season. But I think for the most part, this episode was definitely a big one for Preston. Obviously coming to terms with his bulimia, his mother stealing food because of her mother eating all the food. Kai was getting involved with things that really had nothing to do with him. I understood his reasoning and why he was doing it, but I just think Kai, in my opinion, has been forced down our throats so much. He never knows when to quite stop or quit or just be like, when he came on stage with like free meals and stuff, it's like, how belittling is that? It's like, we understand what you try to do, but you don't know the reasoning, so you're just getting the wrong end of the stick. I think Nikki's a great character. I love her chemistry with Dante. I love how Kai and Preston sort of came out in this episode, and people are starting to, get on with it. Samir was really nice with it. She said, "Good on you guys." A few characters have sort of gone into the background, like the head girl. Dwayne had like a couple of scenes where obviously himself and the guy he snapped on the first episode apologized. I guarantee that's probably not the last time I'm going to see of that. But again, they're just sort of there to filter in other scenes. But yeah, I'm excited to see where the series is going because it's apparent that Kim's possibly going to become an art teacher again or get into the classroom of some sorts. Thanks to Treneman's recommendation. What I could see for the future is Treneman becoming the head teacher, which I think could be really cool and something we've probably always wanted to see. Kim sort of becomes an art teacher again, and then it's Treneman, well, don't even class Lyndon and Joe as deputy heads because they're not even doing anything in regards to the storyline at deputy head roles. But I think the whole cutting of GCSE music is going to be a big factor of the series. I'm pretty sure Danny will come back into the show in some form in maybe a next episode or so because we have to get conclusions or resolutions to that. But yeah, I think the standouts so far have got to be Dante, Nikki, Val. I think they're three solid characters. I think Preston has always been the highlight of the kids. With his bulimia, or if it's an ED eating disorder. I think Dean and Noel, they just pay they're in the show just for no reason. Kelly Joe, I think, was absent in this episode. Glad that Izzy finally got an episode, and Tonya was obviously there with Izzy, which was cool. Yeah, for me, I'm looking forward to seeing a bit more from Preston and Kai. I knew this would be a roller coaster. I never knew it would be simple, but they're gonna have to do a bit more on Kai's side because he's not really got a storyline, if you will. He never has a storyline. It's Preston, Preston, Preston. It was the same in season one. Preston was driving their relationship forward. He's the main reason people are intrigued. Kai is just sort of there, bit of a big mouth, bit of someone who's always going around spreading false information. They can't afford things. Outing Preston. He probably didn't even want his mother to know he was gay yet. It's like, he has no boundaries or respect for people who might not be comfortable with that information being known by people, especially when he's got a difficult relation with his mother. So I think they have to ground him a bit, but again, I can't see that happening because he's been like that since episode 1 of season 11. But overall, a really good episode. Looking forward to more from the series. Definitely improvement for episode 1. I think this was the same as series 11. Series 11 episode 1 was shit. Series 12 episode 1 was shit. But episode 2 and 3, massive improvements. Not the greatest episodes of Waterloo. It still doesn't feel like Waterloo Road to me in the traditional sense, but massive improvements, and I'm very much excited for episode 4. So stay tuned, and I'll be back soon with more content. Subscribe, like, goodbye.